from the outset, I would like to thank you. I acknowledge that you have worked through the break and you've been speedily catching up so that I can catch my flight back to Brisbane, and I deeply appreciate it. It is my daughter's birthday this weekend, so I thank you wholeheartedly.
Very important for you to get home.
Thank you. I will be direct from the outset. We cannot support this bill passing in its current form. I will say that clearly and unequivocally. We do appreciate the government's intent to put the scheme on sustainable footing and to restore public confidence, but that must never come at the expense of the people who rely on it to live safely and with dignity in their own communities. Tightening NDIS eligibility and slashing the social and community participation budget by half will not stay contained in a spreadsheet. It will be carried by the people who these supports are lost, by the families who absorb what is no longer funded, and by a health system that will meet this need anyway, only much later and at a greater cost. This is not good social or economic policy for this bill to pass in its current form. This committee's interim report surfaced real gaps and made strong recommendations to improve this bill, but real harm remains unaddressed. The 50% cut to the community participation funding still starts later this year, with no impact assessment required beforehand and no guarantee that it is safe for the people who rely on it most. The result is plain. People with psychosocial disability will pay the price for a reform that this country is not ready to make. Community participation support is not a lifestyle extra. The Disability Royal Commission found that violence, abuse, neglect and exploitation are less likely to happen to people who are seen, known and connected. Take away these supports that keep someone visible and you take away their protection. One of our member organisations delivering NDIS services told me directly this week a man they support hadn't left his house in months. A support worker kept visiting, talking with him through the door until one day he opened it. Months later, he stepped outside and eventually he walked into their office himself. Now, this is what that line item in a budget actually is. It's medication checked. It's a fridge with food in it. It's a bill paid on time. Someone who noticed before a challenge or a crisis becomes an emergency. So community and participation supports exist for a reason, and we urge this committee to exercise its leadership to recommend to government that these supports be preserved and not used to balance a budget. This bill is also not happening in a vacuum. At the same time, state, territory and Commonwealth governments negotiate the next National Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Agreement. At this same time, 500,000 people and a further 900,000 family members, kin and carers are already missing out on the psychosocial supports that they need to stay well and live in their communities outside of the NDIS. Now, if we tighten NDIS eligibility and slash funded supports, well, that number is only going to grow well beyond 1.5 million Australians. Every single one of them is a person, not a data point, a person, not a dollar sign. Senators, this bill as it stands is a budget restoration exercise that, as I've said, will not achieve that. It will instead shift the cost elsewhere, at the expense of real people, their rights and the lives that they lead. This is not the Australia that we should be building in 2026. We can and must do better, and this Parliament has the opportunity before it to do better. We're not here to obstruct reform. We're here to advocate on behalf of those that this bill would have the most consequence upon. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to accept questions.